We can make up a game. We can invent a chessboard. We can invent the pieces. We can make all the rules about the game. It can be completely arbitrary, completely subjective. We've created a game. But once we agree that we don't want to lose that game, now we can begin to assess things. And if we don't stop at the first point of disagreement and actually get clarification, then you will go on for a long time, or somebody will go on for a long time, getting us no clearer to understanding or agreement.
So, with that thing that shall not be named on YouTube making everyone adapt to my homebody lifestyle, I did something that any introverted Christian would do with too much free time on his hands. I once again called into the atheist experience to see how full of it modern atheists really are. Except this time around, the man himself, Matt Dillahunty, was there to answer my call. And while it was interesting to hear Matt contradict himself in explaining how he was a nihilist,
I don't believe there's some intrinsic purpose or meaning to the universe. I believe that meaning is something that, and meaning and purpose is something we imbue the universe with.
I wish I was smart enough to point that out at the time, but a more interesting topic came up. One of Matt's reoccurring talking points in explaining how he creates a foundation for morality is an analogy to a chess game.
Game chess, which I've used as an example over and over again. Ultimately, the rules of the game are arbitrary. We invented the rules of the game. And the goal of the game is to not lose. That's subjective. There is no requirement that we care about winning or not losing the game of chess. But if we agree that you and I agree that we do not want to lose a game of chess, then there are objectively good moves and objectively bad moves with respect to that goal of not losing chess.
I know there's no such thing as a perfect analogy, but this is just weird. Keep in mind that Matt uses this to illustrate how he creates a foundation for morality, which is a form of consequentialism, the doctrine that the morality of an action is to be judged solely by its consequences.
What we use as a foundation for morality, which I will go with, along with Sam Harris and a number of others, well-being. There's no objective, intrinsic requirement that be a foundation for morality. It is a subjective assessment that this is what we should be going for. Once you have that as the goal, here's where I'm going to define morality as well-being, and yes, it's not completely defined, and that is a subjective determination. But after that, I can make objective assessments about actions to determine if the consequences of those actions further the goal.
Never mind that raising a subjective preference into an ontic referent is a form of idolatry. Does Matt not know what a game of chess consists of? Players in chess are not cooperating to win a game, they are competing to win a game. It might have made more sense if he explained it with different worldviews as different playing strategies in competition to show which is better at achieving well-being, but that's not what Matt was describing. He was describing a team activity, which chess certainly is not. But even if it was, if we were on the same side of the chessboard working together to win a game, then the question must be asked, who is our opponent exactly? Chess is not only a game of competition, but also a game of strategy. Every move that we make as a team will be in reaction to the moves made by our opponent, and I doubt that Matt is suggesting an intelligence apart from humanity trying to prevent us from achieving well-being. He says that the movements of the chess pieces are completely arbitrary, decided by us. Yet, throughout the call, Matt reiterates the objective fact that drinking battery acid will kill a person.
And that drinking battery acid is worse for us than drinking apple juice.
While our subjective attitude towards the drinking of battery acid is decided by us, the indicative description of what battery acid does to a person is not decided by us. It is not arbitrary. And since objective facts are not arbitrary, how exactly do they translate to an arbitrary move on an arbitrary chessboard, even after you have decided the ontic referent to direct your moves to? Is it a bishop move, a rook move, or a knight move? Now, if I wanted to go further on the deconstruction of this analogy, I could point out that if the chessboard has any correlation with objective reality, it would work far better as an analogy for intelligent design. It is a bit strange for an atheist to use something made with intent and intelligence to explain a phenomenon in a universe he believes has no intent or intelligence behind it. But all this criticism is purely academic, especially since I tried to call in a couple weeks later for clarification, and the call screener told me that such a question wouldn't be a good topic for the show. Imply from that what you will. I have a suspicion that Matt knows how vulnerable this analogy is under scrutiny, as he always seems eager to rush past it so that no one can challenge it. I will concede that Matt's subjectivist idolatry method is useful to organize human behavior, but it's completely dependent on not asking the question, what do we actually mean by well-being? He isn't suggesting a negotiated agreement on how to play chess, but a dictated demand on how everyone else is to play chess. He's hoping you will not challenge him on his social proof sleight of hand when he asks, "Don't you care about human well-being?" So from this day forth I will answer, far more than you do, Matt, because genuine well-being does not permit the nonsense of atheism, much less that vapid repackaged Marxism that you call the humanist manifestos. Even if we can agree on a broad general concept of well-being, it's only possible because his worldview exists solely to be oppositional to my worldview.
To be defined by your opposite is to be nothing at all. Ask a LaVeyan Satanist, or for that matter, the modern Democratic Party.
Atheists like Matt don't choose their positions or develop their arguments because of logic, reason, or evidence, but because it makes them look better by comparison.
That's ridiculous. I don't need...
Hey, Meg, do you get less ugly?
Yeah!
This is the reason why he doesn't acknowledge solipsism, the view that the self is all that can be known to exist. Not because it has been disproven, but because it would be arrogant to do so.
Granted, I don't have a solution for the problem of hard solipsism, but I'm convinced that there are other minds because it would be monumentally arrogant of me to assume that I am in fact the only mind.
This chessboard analogy is just one more opportunity to grandstand for a worldview that makes grandstanding itself an exercise in futility. I also find it adorable that every other person in the comments section accused me of being dishonest. Never mind that they were not able to tell me how I was being dishonest. They spoke about dishonesty as if it were an objectively immoral action, and not merely a subjective preference.
You know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
So where is Matt Dillahunty's chessboard? In his head, and nowhere else. After the call was over, Matt says that people like me are afraid of being wrong.
And you want to toss out everything that human beings have learned about how to live a better life because you're too afraid and too lazy.
But that just comes from the fact that I take Matt's lack of belief far more seriously than he does. Matt says he's only interested in talking to those who want to play chess, but he should be more concerned when
flipping the board over
becomes an option for people like me, and that the only thing preventing me from doing so is my lack of interest.
Why shouldn't they? Because it's wrong? Says who, your grandma?
Fortunately, as long as Christianity is true, the chessboard has intrinsic meaning, so me wanting to topple it will not happen anytime soon.
Checkmate.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is not checkmate.
See you tomorrow, pal.
No, just hold on. This is not checkmate. Checkmate.
Don't forget to like, dislike, share, comment, subscribe, Patreon, and all that other good stuff. Until next time, may the will of God be your way.